On this episode of DC On Screen, we are talking about Season 1 of Dead Boy Detectives on Netflix. So if you haven't seen this wonderful show, set firmly in the Sandman universe, we absolutely recommend it. Our spoiler-filled review after these words from our mystery bedside dandelion sprites. Welcome into DC On Screen, the podcast bringing you news and reviews of the DC Universe on film and television since 2015. I'm David C. Robertson. This is Jason Goss.
Hey.
All right, so freaking Dead Boy Detectives.
Yeah.
Took us a while to get through it, or it took me a while to get through it, honestly.
I mean, yeah, it took a little longer. It didn't take me like day one or anything either. I think it had been out for a couple weeks before I finished.
Yeah.
Once you finally get into it, it's real hard to hit pause though.
Yeah, like, my wife and I watched a couple, 2 or 3, and then she went out of town, and she wanted to watch it with me, and
That is devastating.
I was like, okay, well, I mean, she wasn't like, you can't watch it unless I'm here, but then, like, I get a little depressed when she leaves, so
A little separation depression.
Yeah, so I was like, I don't really feel like watching that without her.
Fair enough.
So, there we are, and, but yeah. High-level thoughts, man. What'd you think of Dead Boy Detectives?
No, it's glorious.
Glorious.
Yeah.
You mean you actually liked it? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
Deeply. I mean, my major two takeaways were I've rarely seen something that's got this Venn diagram of just being so much fun or having so much fun with itself and its lore and backstory, but also being so visually interesting. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It checked off a lot of stuff that certain shows just do. Seems like it did several things as well as any other show could only dream to. I mean, I guess that would be close to how I want to put that.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of, it really has a good season-long through line, or a few of those. Good serialization, but also a good episodic nature to it.
Yeah. I mean, you're still getting origin stories at the 80% mark of the show.
Yeah, and every episode feels like a full meal.
Yeah, definitely. Like, to the point where a couple episodes I'd be probably at 80-85% through it and kind of look up and sometimes you just tap the screen if you're watching on an iPad or something like that, just see how much time's left. And like occasionally I would look and be like, how are there 18 minutes left? My God, that felt like a whole episode. Okay. And then 18 minutes later, I'd feel like I was transported somewhere entirely different. All right, well, I should not have even looked at the clock. That's my bad, Neil. My bad.
Yeah.
Amateur move. Should have done better.
Yeah, and there are a few episodes in this thing that are just so freaking cool.
I'll break them up.
The loop. That one was frustrating though. The Devlin house, where they try to free the family of spirits from the murder loop. It was frustrating to me only because I listen to a lot of supernatural podcasts, and I'm like, oh yeah, the loop.
I know about the loop.
The emotional trauma loop. Yeah.
How do they not know about the loop?
So you said you're dead and you're detectives and you've been around for a couple centuries. Okay, cool. How you don't know about the loop?
Yeah. That
was a little weird for me, but
with you doing it, I'm imagining a little bit of like a Seinfeld cadence to it. How do they not know about the loop? Yeah.
They're dead people who don't know about the loop. Who are these people?
Who didn't tell them about the loop?
Of course, you don't want to go into like modern Seinfeld territory. We were just like, everyone is coming for the white man.
They're all coming for the loop.
They're trying to cancel me.
Just can't talk about the loop the way you used to.
Poor Jerry.
Yeah.
With his multiple millions of dollars.
Yeah. With what I'm surprised isn't thousands of millions of dollars.
Oh yeah, just drying his eyes with millions of dollars. He's really gotten on my nerves lately. Can you tell?
The only person who's made any money off Untoasted.
Oh. Anyway.
Yeah. Great story though.
Devlin
Horrific
House
episode to actually watch. Just
yeah.
Oh God, those are some of the most like senseless those are the stories about like just some dude snaps and kills his whole family and like in this public thing. It's just, those are like just horrifying images to read about, hear about. And this one, you just got to watch it over and over again.
Well, not quite watch it.
Yeah.
You saw blood splatter, but they didn't get, just in case somebody out there's like, I can't watch that. Like, you're not going to actually see it. You're just going to see people see it.
Yeah, you'll experience it.
And hear it.
Yeah. Oh, you'll know. You'll know.
But, for all the horror you feel on that, you're going to laugh your dick off when you're watching the dandelion sprites.
Yeah, God. I'd forgotten about those, so you mentioned them in the intro there, but God, they're good.
They're really funny.
Mm-hmm.
Liddy and Kingham.
What was it they said? Like, we're not birds. You can't just put a sweater over us, and we think it's nighttime. Oh, there it is.
Something like that. Oh, God. I love how much they kept telling her she smelled bad inside.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're just awful creatures.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think it means that they're like hanging out with her in an igloo at the end of this thing? And she's alive? Nico?
Yeah. God, I almost want to watch the last couple scenes again to refresh myself because they were wild. My take was that she made it in some capacity. I don't know. I don't know what that means for her yet, though.
And she's holding the little what's it that Tragic Mick gave her.
Yeah.
By the way, he's talking about loving a character. Jesus, God. I love
part?
Tragic Mick.
Oh.
Tragic Mick. I love him. Yup. the sad walrus man.
Yeah. God, it's amazing how many side characters they fit into this thing.
Yeah. I liked Ruth Connell's night nurse here more than I liked when she did it in Doom Patrol.
Really?
Well, Doom Patrol, she was more of a demonic sort of character. They kind of made her a little different. She was way more of an antagonist there than she was here. She was just sort of a nuisance here who winds up, begrudgingly on their side.
I see. Yeah, I see. I can see that. I liked the all the extra lore about the I don't know. It just this whole handbook of laws going in and out of hell made me happy. I wish I had a copy.
Sure. Netflix, get on it.
Yeah, would also love a dual edition where it comes with a copy of what's his name's like guide for how to get out of it.
Oh, that would be cool.
Wouldn't it?
That would be cool. Yeah.
I mean, as far as props go, the prop work on that notebook was fantastic. All the little etchings and drawings and beautiful work. God, I would love to see that book again. That'd become an obsession, though. I'd really hate to actually have that book. Like, no, this is all I want to do. It'd become The Ninth Gate, if you remember that film.
I never saw that one.
Just basically some dude gets a hold of a copy of an old book that claims to have like a portal to hell or something and just becomes obsessed with it.
Was that Depp?
That was a Depp.
Okay.
That was a Depp, a vehicle.
So yeah, I liked I liked every episode.
Yeah, really didn't have a soft spot in this entire thing.
The hell episode was great though.
Oh God, yeah. I think you could probably like play the gluttony scene on a loop for people that have an eating disorder.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that kind of eating disorder, I guess. But anyway, like if somebody was overeating in any capacity, I think you just show them that scene on loop and it would Clockwork Orange their ass. That was hard to watch.
Yeah, maybe. And I say that because I saw it and it made me hungry.
Maybe. It was just a rough scene.
No, it was. I think weirdly, my favorite episode was the two popular jocks.
What happened?
The Case of the Two Dead Dragons. The two popular jocks who showed up and they were like, douching about.
Yeah.
And Charles was desperate for them to be good guys. And the more they talked to people, the more they realized they weren't good guys. Well, they talked to a bunch of people and they're, good guys. And then they talked to the dead girl who killed herself. And she was like, oh no, they're pieces of shit.
That's pretty good. There was a theme about that though. And I forget what I ran across recently where I ended up talking to somebody about this, that Dead Boys had done a similar thing. Where basically like somebody gets their memory back and it turns out they didn't really want it. They were douchebags.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that's, leading up to Crystal finding out that she was a terrible person.
Yeah.
A bit. Yeah. She's literally telling people to go walk into traffic with her psychic abilities.
Yeah.
I don't know how you reconcile that.
I mean, I've had some off days, but like not that kind.
I mean, I've always joked
Although I would not like for a lot of reasons I would not like to have that power because you don't want to know what a bad day would be like if you had that in your arsenal.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know exactly what a bad day would look like if I had that arsenal.
Yeah. I mean, but I've never thrown a punch at somebody. It's never come up. And to some extent that's because I don't want to. And
It's never come up.
I've never managed to need to do that. But like I've been in situations where it might have been warranted, but like you just find other ways. But yeah, like it's partly the consequences too. Like I go punch somebody, we're going to be able to track that down pretty easily to my bruised hand. But if you have this power, no man, you could just that'd be the hardest part is like no one's ever going to know or be able to stop you. That would be where it truly tests your morals, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if I had that ability, I would just be like popping brains.
Just
somebody cuts me off in traffic, boof.
Yep.
Blood
Sorry, buddy.
splattered on the inside of that car.
Yep.
Like I think I'm that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm the bad guy, and I'm just the bad guy.
Yeah.
Who was that? What was that movie that we saw years and years and years ago? They found like an alien thing in a hole, and then they all get powers, and it was like a Josh Trank or something. His first movie.
Power Rangers or
no.
Are you talking about
Power Rangers?
No, not it's that Landis kid was Chrono or whatever.
Yes, it was Max Landis written.
Yeah, Chrono then, I think.
Chrono?
Chrono? It's something like that. It's like a prefix.
It cannot be the Chrono. Let me just see.
Just figure it out, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to drive me nuts. But yeah, like the bad kid in that. The kid that just goes nuts. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
The skinny dude?
Yeah. Chronicle.
There we go.
That's what it's called.
I was getting there. Oh, fun sidebar. Somebody at work asked me, because it is deadly, or very much right in the center of the Sandman universe. They didn't try to make this a well maybe kind of thing. That's the most beautiful part about seeing Death's face there to me was like, well, one, I love her doing Death, but two, yeah, they weren't playing around. This was very much the same thing. So in that vein, had somebody ask me like, hey, so is the Cat King like, does that have anything to do with that episode of Sandman? It's like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't. I think it's just that Neil Gaiman has a thing for cats. I don't think they're tied in,
maybe not specifically
narratively wise, yeah.
But the cats are sentient and have real agency, so
they do. I'm not saying it couldn't be. I just don't know that it is like already tied in.
It's just a different sect of cats somewhere else in the universe.
Yeah. Or at least maybe that's one story that happens, but maybe they all exist in the same place and have the same mechanisms, but the stories are completely unrelated.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I found out two things though. Well, one, I laughed too because like the Cat King was probably most like charismatic person in this show. Honestly, as much as I loved the rest of them, this guy just stole the scene every time he was in it. And
I thought he was kind of gross. He kind of annoyed me.
I
like him very much.
Loved him.
he looks like somebody I used to work with who grossed me out though. So
I don't have any kind of internal bias like that for me. I just thought he was hilarious. And then as he put it later, alarmingly sexy. It's just a funny phrase.
A funny phrase, but I also didn't see that.
No.
It's like I kind of look like a juggalo a little bit, and
oh no, it's got that it's like my trash royalty or something.
Yeah.
My
I was just like, I was just sitting there going like, girl, you have way too much product in your hair, okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You need to lick that shit out.
No, you got to get one of the other cats to help on that.
Well, apparently he shouldn't have much trouble since he's so alarmingly sexy.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like they're gonna be fine there. Loved his bit about like I only have so many lives left now. Damn it, lady. Yeah.
I like the. Do you know what it's like to claw your way out of your own corpse?
Oh yeah, God, that's good. Yeah,
that was
Cat
fun.
King was a ton of fun. No, person I talked to at work though brought up Cat King. I was like, no, I'm pretty sure that's a coincidence and just that Neil really likes cats, but I can't say for sure. But what threw her off is she watched Sandman. She got after the fact, after the whole season was it was 2 years ago now almost, I think. Yeah, she watched the whole thing though after the fact. So she went through episode was like 1 through 13 or something. That was the actual series.
Mm-hmm.
And then they watched it, and she's like, and it says play next episode at the bottom, and her husband are looking at each other like, that felt real finale-y. Like, what are we talking about here? And then they go to the next episode. It's a whole episode that's like good, but it's about cats. They were very confused. And it did make me kind of wish that the streaming services would list these like just a little bit differently than they do. Because they're like, oh, we got a whole other episode of the finale left. No, just some weird story about cats that we can't even tell if it's actually factually related to the universe or just some allegory about the early days of it. I don't know.
Well, it's definitely factually related to the universe.
Is it? Because I thought it could have just been like an interpretation of like how dreams can have a history, but like,
well, I mean,
it reminded me of like the early days of the Bible. Like, yeah, sure, maybe there could be a Noah's Ark, but who cares? The point was the story of the Ark.
Maybe. The point is it matters.
Yeah.
Whether it actually happened or it was just the dreams, part of the dreams and the zeitgeist of the cat culture, it was important. But I tend to believe that it did happen.
Yeah.
And it was just a fun little tongue-in-cheek thing that Neil had in his universe as like, oh yeah, this was actually a thing, by the way. Moving on.
It's like in Futurama where they bring in like, oh yeah, and then there was an era in 2600 where zombie Jesus came back. Anyway, let's bring up a huge event. And moving on.
The whole world was, controlled by cats.
I would love to hear it in Neil Gaiman's voice, like the entire world has always been just the summary of whatever man can dream of, except for the bit where cats won. But it's men now again. So
yep,
dream hard though. Don't let the cats win again. What about dogs? Too lazy, no ambition.
So I gotta know, as much as I loved this show, the bit at the end, the last episode, where Charles does that backflip and stabs the snake.
Yeah.
That's got to be like one of the worst special effects I've ever seen.
Oh, no.
It looked like 90s Adult Swim, man. It was...
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I mean, it
looked real bad.
I have a certain low bar after some of what happened on the CW. Not all, because granted, the CW varied. I mean, sometimes it knocked it so far out of the park that you're like, where did you get all that money? And then other times it was just like, oh my God, who spent all the money?
I mean, I remember when we were doing episode by episode reviews, like what was it, the end of like season 1, when Flash like runs through the city and runs up the side of that building and jumped into that black hole or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was the running up the side of the building that was somebody let their kid do the final edit that day.
Well, the way I remember it is us being like, well, we know where they put all the money this season.
Oh, that one that looked good.
Yeah, that was the one that looked good.
Okay. I'm thinking there was one later where I swear he runs up and down the same wall. Maybe I'm just remembering the wall being important.
Yeah, that was...
There was one later that was...
Season 4.
Okay.
It was awful.
Oh, okay.
Well, the ratings were going down. They were making less money, so they were, spending less.
Yeah.
And it just got real obvious.
Yeah.
And I believe in that episode we were bitching about it, being like, dude, we saw like 3 years ago you did way better.
Yeah. I mean, that scene, they could have just like turned the camera on its side and put it on long exposure and have some dude in a red beach towel run up and down and just blur it after the fact. That would look just as good as what we saw in that second one. It was bad.
But yeah, overall, I think the special effects on this show were really cool. I liked the fact that like they chose style over, trying to spend a ton of money on effects that would look bad most of the time. Like they would go to 2D animation to show a backstory.
Yeah. Well, even like meeting despair in the whatever ethereal hell version we're at here, like that, you can make a lot of choices about that. That was a very stripped down version that seems, out of this world, just in the right way, but isn't all that expensive when you look at it. Yeah. Just really a bunch of frames and like lighting's cheap if you do it right, which I think they did a great job of the whole time. Mm-hmm. It really was great set design. I mean, it was a gorgeous show. You can pick any frame and enjoy it.
I read this article. Apparently, they asked Neil Gaiman if he was like excited or if that was his goal to make a Sandman universe collection of things on Netflix, and he was like, "No, not really." He said apparently like HBO Max had this show, And they were developing it, and they were like, well, we won't be able to get it out until like 2025 at the earliest. And so they kind of started asking other people if they wanted to play it, wanted to show it. And Netflix said yes, but it has to be in the Sandman universe. And Neil was just like, oh, okay. Yeah, we can do that.
I don't mind. Now, is this? I don't know this. I don't know that set nearly well enough to answer the question. Weren't they already a part of the universe in the books anyway? Like,
yeah.
So Neil was just like, "Oh, you're insisting upon something that's already written." Okay, sure, whatever.
Yeah, that's where they came. They first appeared with Sandman. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I had in my head, but I don't feel confident enough on this to say anything with any certainty.
Yeah. I mean, in the comic books, they were actually boys. They were children, dead children. Yeah. They were not,
late teenagers,
steamy, hunky 18-year-olds.
Yeah. Wasn't Riverdale in hell?
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah, I wouldn't say it was Riverdale. That's not fair. Riverdale is so bad.
I wouldn't. But to give it props for its more like emotional moments. I love the scene where he tells him he loves him, and it's about like the next to last episode or something. They're escaping hell or whatever. But I love the writing. How beautifully phrased. It's like it's the kind of scene where you watch it and you're like, oh man, look, that one person, they said everything that they were thinking and feeling. It sounded beautiful. And that other person, they took it all into account. They replied, and it was all, man, it'd be nice if anyone did that in real life.
Yeah.
But it's like that kind of conversation is like so in the moment, present and considerate and self-aware in a way that, like, in the real world, most people would have just been like, all right, mate, let's just get up the stairs and we'll worry about that in a second. Not let's stop right here and have a deeply involved conversation where I have complete respect for your feelings and our history, but also I'm establishing a boundary for myself in the moment. No, no one has the wherewithal for that.
Weren't they leaving hell?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. There's like a freaking spider made out of baby doll heads coming after them.
Yeah, there's like a small amount of people that might have stopped and had a real conversation. A greater amount of people that have just said, mate, let's get up the stairs and we'll worry about it later. Dude, there's a percentage of people that just would have chucked their mate over the side of the fucking stairs and be like, I'm not dealing with this. Bye. Eat and run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of those where I was like,
never know.
This feels like there's a better time to talk about this.
It made for a good scene. I'm not mad at it. It's a typical convention, to in the middle of everything stop. I love though in those scenes where just the entire crescendo of, like, let's say it's like a volcano movie or something in the background. There'll be just like this kind of rising series of like violent sounds in the background because shit's going down, right? And we're all about to die.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll like rise and violence and sound and volume and all that. And then like it gets to a point where the characters have this like, wait, before everything happens, I just have to tell you. And just magically the sound just stays at a plateau for the entirety of their conversation before suddenly something breaks right at the end of the, like, filmmaking.
That's an artistic choice.
Yeah.
It's like they're the only two people talking in that moment.
Yeah.
They're the only thing that they could hear. Yeah.
Yeah. I like it when they do just the slightly different trope where it's like a Green Lantern-esque kind of character that's like, I can only hold everything back for a minute while we talk. Like,
yeah.
right,
No,
at least there's a mechanism.
What I appreciated about that bit on the stairway is that, Edwin thought we're probably not going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
I need to tell you this real quick.
I got to get it out.
What's aggravating is that he greatly improved the chances of the spider taking him back by doing that. So,
you're just in the moment. You just got to
then
stop
back to
it's just like, on the one hand, I get it makes sense for the character in the moment to be like, I may never get a chance to say this. I have to tell you so and so, like, because like you're desperate and your life's flashing before your eyes, and yeah, you might do something like that. But the trope I always cracks me up is like the rest of the world waiting on that person to have an emotional breakthrough. And like sometimes I just want to see the scene where somebody goes like, I have to stop for real quick. I just something I want to tell you, and then they just get smashed with a rock because they shouldn't have fucking stopped because this wasn't the time.
Yep. Now it's funny because like he's a logical enough character that you would think that he wouldn't do that, but then I like the fact that this has been weighing on him so heavily that it's stripping him of his logic.
Yeah. Well, and he's just spent any amount of time in hell, but a pretty significant little relapse in hell there.
Yeah.
Not his best day, probably cognitively.
And I like that they took time to differentiate that this was like, sort of surface level hell. This is each person's individual hell, sort of. It's not really like lower levels Lucifer hell.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so that's why it doesn't look like the Sandman's hell. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm good.
You were only bad enough to have like the corporeal version of hell. You were bad enough to see the actual fly demons.
Mm-hmm. I'm also glad that it didn't look like hell from like the Lucifer show, where it's just like, here's the hallway in a school, and you have diabetes eyes.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just like, here is a cheap motel, and you have the eyes of a 14-year-old Labrador. Good luck out there.
Oh, Jesus. Oh. It was funny because I was watching this show, though, and I thought, like, this is like the slash fiction fan's dream. This entire show.
Yeah.
It is so queer coded, first of all.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, everybody in this show is into everybody else.
It is, but, like, I honestly talked to a couple of people into the show on exactly those terms. Like, oh, it's gay AF. You'll love it. Like, oh, really? Yeah, you'll love it. It'll be great.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. I had a couple of those instances myself.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not, I'm not at all shitting on this. I just think it's really fun because most of the time when you hear like slashers start talking about like, oh, this person should be with this person and this is who I'm shipping. And I'm like, really? You saw that?
Yeah.
In this show, I could see anything.
Yeah.
Because it was totally like, yeah, Cat King and Edwin? Absolutely. Yeah, Charles and Edwin? Absolutely.
Sure.
Oh, Crystal and Charles? Absolutely.
Yeah, why not?
Crystal and Jenny? Yeah, maybe. Jenny and Nico? Absolutely.
I mean, Gaiman and Morrison are maybe two of the best at that I can think of off just top of my head of like any two in their story that you want to ship. It's like, oh, well, I read the first, issue and I was just thinking like, blah, 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 blah. Maybe so-and-so hooks up with so-and-so and you have just Neil just sitting there like, child, just give me a few minutes. They're inking that right now. I'm writing another hookup you ain't even thought about yet. Okay, yeah. Thanks. And you got Morrison over there. I had him fuck a toaster. Why? Toaster has feelings. It was a past life. That was his ex-wife. She died at 21. Oh, she loved toast. What?
It was what the silvery liquid beings told me in the other realm. Oh.
Yeah. He said it was because they cremated her.
Okay, so she was a bit gross, but Jen Lyon as the witch Esther just like killed me, cracked me up.
She made me laugh. I want to punch her.
Yeah, like you just want to like.
God, she was so good at making me hate her.
Yeah, you just want to kill her.
Yeah, she is like she's the fucking Siamese cat lady from Lady and the Tramp, over and over again.
Yeah,
this entitled bitch. Wow, you
sort of thinking of Cruella de Vil a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. She is. She's actually a bunch of early Disney villains rolled into one.
Also, you know what makes me sad? As much as I really liked this actress, I would have loved to have seen Megan Mullally to play this role.
Yeah. I'm trying to go over some of the scenes, and yeah. And it would have been even funnier to watch her beat the Cat King up. Because she does not have she's diminutive, slightly.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought everybody on this show did a great job.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
I was really, really shocked by how good it was in a lot of ways. Yeah. And I don't even know why. It was just like, I think it's just like, it wasn't like an expectation because I loved Sandman. I like Sandman more than this. But I think it's just more my vibe. But
I had to really think about it the other day, and I couldn't come down on either side of it. I had trouble.
I think narratively I enjoyed Sandman more. And tonally, I enjoyed Sandman more. Like, it's more epic, more grandeur in its scale.
I think it would just be which mood I'm in. If I wanted slightly more lighthearted. Because Dead Boy, I don't know, it has that extra element of being fun in the way that, like, in the way that we had to use the term action comedy at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Because it didn't make sense to not have both those words there. There's plenty of moments that are, deeply not fun, but Sandman has just fleeting moments of levity, whereas Dead Boy, had chunks of it. I guess it just been what mood I was in, really. Like I said.
Yeah, but the fleeting moments of levity in Sandman was Patton Oswalt.
Yeah, typically, yeah.
So,
And
that's probably going to win for me.
it could be. And
Like, I want to continue watching the adventures of Goth Waif.
yeah, true.
Goth Dream Waif.
Yeah. No, I mean, well, even like the lack of levity in that show is a strength, not a weakness for sure. It's not supposed to be there. That's what I'm saying. It's a mood thing. If I just wanted something more dramatic, I'd put on Sandman.
Yeah.
If I wanted to really tune in and really soak up some screen and all that, and if I just wanted something in the background that I could really dig into and laugh about a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. By the way, did you notice that Jenny is Brianna Cuoco, who does Batgirl on Harley Quinn?
Mm-mm, I did not.
That's who she is.
That's cool,
she is Kaylee Cuoco's sister.
I mean, I know there have to be a lot of Cuocos, but I've just never heard that name outside of those two, so
yeah,
it took me several attempts to get her name right even.
Yeah, the other day when I was telling my wife this, couldn't say it. I was like, guac.
Yeah. Kaylee Cocoa Puffs.
Why can't I say it? Oh,
speaking of, apparently Cuoco and Conan are good friends.
But yeah, I really hope it gets another season. I've heard it hasn't done the best in the numbers. Like, it showed up at like number 3 on the streaming charts right when it came out, and then dropped off the face of the earth as far as the streaming charts were concerned. So I don't know how Netflix is going to feel about that.
Maybe. I don't know. I was probably like a week and a half late watching it, and when I went to watch it, it was still in trending.
Oh, that's good.
So, I mean, it was
trending on Netflix.
Yeah. I don't think it did poorly by any chance. I think it might have done middling.
Right. Well, like the Nielsen streaming charts do all the streamers. Yeah. So, they're the little top 10. Like for the debut, basically at number 3, it was great. But also, it's one of those shows that like is not going to keep staying on the charts because it's Netflix and they dropped the entire season at once.
Oh yeah, yeah. A lot of people watched it, that evening and the next evening on a binge and called it a day. I mean, it probably. I don't remember. I think it took me like 4 days or something. I want to say to watch this thing, but in chunks. It'd be like 5 episodes here, half an episode, 3, and then like maybe just the last episode and the last one, or however I did that. But fits in spurts.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it all happened in a very short time period.
Yeah.
God, I really would have trouble selling that format to an advertiser. Well, it's going to be great for like a week. Everyone in the world is going to know about your mattresses. What about after that? Mm-hmm. No one is going to know about your mattresses for like 2 years until season 2 comes out.
Yeah.
But for the 4 days where this thing is the thing everyone's talking about, we talk about your mattresses.
Well, I think the show is really funny and it's really inventive and does some really cool stuff visually.
Mm-hmm. I loved the like 90-degree turn edits with the camera going between worlds. It was so engaging to watch that.
I really love the title cards.
Oh,
at the start of each act.
Yeah. Hell, I love the intro, actually. Give that a little bit of love.
I don't like that.
You didn't?
But it's okay. I didn't. No. I was like the dancing skeletons. I got bored of it quickly.
Well, it was one of those where the first on episode 1 when you watch it, only some of it makes sense. By the final episode, the entire intro, you see all the little clues.
Mm-hmm.
Those are always neat as far as design goes. I always appreciate the extra thought when people do that.
Yeah, that's fine, and I appreciated it for that, but it was like not a thing that I wanted to watch.
That's fair. I enjoyed it. I like the imagery a lot. It's just right in my Halloweenish wheelhouse anyway, so I think I skipped through a couple, but for the most part, watched the intro when it came through.
Mm-hmm. I get it.
Man, intros on streaming TV are just way better than regular TV at this point.
Yes, but at the same time, like, they're also, to me, most of the time, so superfluous, I just want to get over them. I'm like, why are they there?
Yes, but those same platforms graced us with the skip intro button.
They did, and I use it. With abandon.
Yeah. I do. I go back and forth. Some intros I'm happy to sit and watch. And I do have a tradition where the last episode of anything, I won't skip the intro.
Mm-hmm.
Just out of respect.
The first and last.
Yeah.
The first and last I usually... Now, there are exceptions. Like the Big Door Prize on Apple TV. At least in season 1, the intro is a little different every time.
Oh, and so you got to watch those.
directly coded to the episode we're about to watch. So I'm into that. Plus, I like the music, and there's a whole lot of blue, and it's really pretty.
Yeah.
I watched the opening, the intro sequence of every episode of Severance, because it's just a friggin' work of art, and it's so I don't know, it's just so engaging to me. Like there's something to see every time you watch it, something you didn't see before.
Yeah. I also just
feel
like
that way.
I could close my eyes and watch that one if I wanted to. That little piano tinkle in the background was a great.
Mm-hmm. Doom Patrol actually was one of those where it was just like, oh man, it's a cool intro.
Over several seasons, I don't know if there's anything in the imagery that is, lost on me as far as, some references, or because I've just seen it all those times, but I don't think I ever skipped it.
Yeah.
It was too pretty. The music was too good.
Yeah. Yep. Titans, I kind of wanted to skip. It's just that got dun.
Oh yeah, but it was also one of those where what you just riffed, you're halfway through the intro now.
That's it.
Yeah. Because all the rest of it was just the dump, boo, boo, and then you're over. It's over.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're just gonna watch somebody get a broken bone now.
That's fair. It's funny, like that. Shrinking and Ted Lasso, I don't think I ever skipped an intro.
I skipped Ted's a lot. Not the last one, of course. Skipped Ted's a lot though. Good enough song. It's a good intro, but it just pictures of places after a while.
It is. I like the song though.
It also, if you're binging anything, which is what always happened to me in Ted Lasso, except for like that last season, it makes it a lot easier to skip intros.
Yeah, I think we caught up on like the first season or two, and then watched the third one all the way, like week by week, something like that. Yeah, I don't know. Most of the time, unless it's like Guns Peacemaker series or something, like I'm probably gonna skip the intro if there is one.
Yeah. Right. I'm not sure when this turned into a TED Talk about skip intros.
I'm okay with it.
Just sort
I
of
think it means we ran out.
Yeah, probably. I didn't write notes for Dead Boy. It's also because I watched it just voraciously wherever I could. A couple episodes on my phone, some on iPad, some on TV, some just wherever I could for a minute. And oh, by the way, just possibly nominee for my favorite plot point in the entire show so far is just the one demon that comes to get Edmund or wherever. It's just basically like, I feel bad, but protocol's protocol.
Yeah, that guy was funny.
And takes him to hell.
Technicality. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
But possibly the most satisfying thing to watch that whole series was the rest of the kids who did that getting sucked to hell anyway. And then later, they have a little moment and he forgives him. And like, that was adorable. That was adorable. And then the guy just doesn't want to forgive himself. He still feels bad.
Yeah.
It was cute.
But yeah, you know what? It's really, like, I feel like we're not giving the show enough credit. Like, because they had a lot of characters and I never felt like it was, crowded. Nothing felt like...
No, everybody was there for a reason.
Yeah, everybody was there for a reason. The pacing was on point. Like, I never felt crowded. I never felt like I was like having trouble remembering who people were. There were like maybe two effects that I thought, And to be fair, I mean the snake and the thing at the end, and the thing at the end involved the snake, and I think that was a big part of it. So the backflip stab.
Yeah.
Man, I don't.
I like to think you just don't know what a dream world snake looks like. Maybe it just looks a little squiffy.
Yeah, I mean it looked CG, but
wouldn't you hate that? It's like, wouldn't you hate to get to hell, and part of hell, it turns out, is just deeply underperforming on the servers, kind of thing. You get there and like demons aren't this giant fleshed out thing like in Sandman. It's basically a bunch of scorpion kings.
Actually, that sounds more accurate. That thing was so uncanny valley, it made me sick.
The people torturing you are like the demons from Doom 2.
Uh-huh.
And
that would be terrifying.
It would be. And they actually are 2Ds. So like when they turn, they just vanish for a second until you see them again.
I'm like, why do you guys look like your old PlayStation games? Like, and then they would be like, because if, and the little word bubble would pop up. Because, because if we looked like 32 or 16-bit, you would suddenly be in heaven. You're right.
The dogs marching the hallways are the German shepherds from Tomb Raider 2.
Oh, no. Like, the difference between hell and heaven is hell is what you just described. Heaven would be Goombas.
Yeah. No, you have to wait like 40 years to play the only game in hell. You sign up and there's like a 1 hour reprieve. And about once every 40 years, the only game is Superman on Nintendo 64.
Oh, God. No, I've got worse than that. Batman and Robin on
in hell is that
PlayStation.
no one has ever signed up twice for the 1 hour reprieve.
No. Superman 64 was better than Batman and Robin on PlayStation. I promise you. I've played both. I promise you.
You know what? It's definitely better than the last time I played. I think it was Batman Origins, I want to say.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. What is that?
It was one of the Arkham Asylum games, but
Oh.
it was like that one that was a prequel kind of game. Because what it was a Arkham Asylum, Arkham City.
Huh. Yeah, there was Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Knight.
And
then there was the Arkham... Was it Arkham Origins? The one with the Deathstroke?
I think so. Well,
But it was
another
like...
one had Deathstroke, though.
But it was Montreal. It wasn't Rocksteady.
Yeah, it wasn't Rocksteady.
Rockstar
Yeah.
or whatever.
It had one of the best trailers for a game I've ever seen in my life. But no gameplay in the world could be worse than that.
Yes, it could.
Well, I say that. I don't remember which game this was. But anyway, it's one of the ones where I'm in a tower. And I had to come down the tower. And for some reason, the game glitched me below the elevator in the tower. So every time I turned on that saved game, I was in the elevator. And like the only time I saw the real world for a second, for like a split second, you could see the real world. And then you dropped. And then everything below it was a wireframe. And the wireframe would just get smaller and smaller. And you just dropped forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, still better than Batman and Robin on PlayStation.
I don't know. I just dropped into nothingness forever. Is that an improvement?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me explain something to you, okay?
All right.
This is based on the movie, the Joel Schumacher movie, Batman and Robin. This thing, like, you could not walk or run and turn at the same time. You had to walk or run, and it was hard to run. Stop completely, slowly rotate by pressing one of the arrow keys, one of the side arrow keys, left or right. Slowly rotate. And by the way, the camera's not keeping up with you.
Oh.
It doesn't understand where the hell you are.
Oh, it's not facing forward at all.
You're just seeing like pieces of wall, pixelated wall. You don't know where the hell you are. And then you hope to hell that you can run in the direction you were hoping to run in, because then you'll glitch and get caught in a freaking corner next to a trash can, which you can't touch, but for some reason impedes your movement. As villains are beating the shit out of you inside of a jewelry store that they are currently robbing. I never got past that level. I don't know how bad the game is. I never met Mr. Freeze. I never met Poison Ivy in this game.
That is rough.
Also, you're supposed to be picking up puzzle clues and solving puzzles and getting little access cards, but the camera doesn't keep up with you. About half the time you're looking at about half the time you were inside of Batman's wire mesh looking at the underside of his skin.
That does sound worse. The other day I tried, there's an ongoing problem as far as I can tell where a lot of games, like if it was kind of glitchy on a console, when you get the PC version, strap the fuck in.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we had trouble with this, and for some reason I was on Steam or something, looking for something. I think I was looking for Bluey, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, I downloaded the Ghostbusters game. I didn't make it out of the fucking fire station.
Wait, is this the one that was on 360 several years ago?
I think so.
Yeah. You and I bought that game for like $5 at GameStop.
Because it had their voices and everything. We were all excited.
Yes. And we couldn't get out of the fire station where that damn pirate ghost was making like the waves and shit.
Yeah. I have no idea how to play that game.
No idea.
Not a clue. It turns out there's a Futurama game from 2002 that was on PS2, I want to say. And it's got a whole story. I looked it up, and turns out the story itself was one of those things I just found somewhere on the internet, and I've got a copy of it in my, Futurama files somewhere. So I've seen the story. But, it had a story, and I read all these reviews. They were like, look, the story is a legit good episode of Futurama. Well, I mean, and there's a game. Maybe I'll play it. And then I kept reading the reviews in the game. But basically, everybody in the game was like, okay, this was the weird era right after they figured out how to make games more complex, and before they figured out how to make them playable. So it's like, so yes, Futurama, great story. You can play the game. It can be beaten. You won't, though. Oh well.
Yeah, man.
A weird ending to a Dead Boys Detective review.
It is. It is a weird ending, but I like it. It's
is.
okay. It reeks of DC on screen, doesn't it?
It does. It does. I mean, we've covered the basics. Great coverage of a great show, of a great series. All the actors tremendous. I'd probably fuck the Cat King. You apparently wouldn't.
No.
What else we got? The Witch. Fuck her. Great job on screen. I hate you so much. Good job. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's the major plot points. I feel like I could go episode by episode, and my review of a show like this would be super boring because it would just me sitting. It would be me sitting there slack jawed the whole time, occasionally going, "Oh shit, that's good."
That's your commentary.
Yeah, my entire track would just be a flat line, and then occasionally that commentary, or just
yeah. You're just like an old person watching any episode of like Matlock or
Jag.
Just
yeah.
like
He got him there at the end.
Oh
yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Oh, Miriam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
The sound you just made was also the sound that old people make when you give them Kraft macaroni and cheese that's slightly too hot.
Oh.
Yeah.
That noodle stuck to the top of my mouth.
Well, because in my family history, it's like you've been drinking coffee for 70 of the 72 years you've been alive, and like that's the sound of someone who's experiencing pain, but not in any way that they feel the pain anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like their mouth's on fire and tooths are sizzling inside, but they can't quite experience it anymore because they've been guzzling coffee in the morning or just sticking their head right under the tap. And you get used to shit,
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
My God, does my family drink coffee too?
My wife told me about a couple of her family members. I think it was like her grandmother and her aunt, like reacting to someone wearing tennis shoes at a wedding, and it was so tennis shoes. Oh, he's wearing tennis shoes. Oh.
Like, all right, I do have two basic questions. Were they clean?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
And were they proper tennis shoes, or were they like?
They were sneakers, I guess.
Like, go to any like shoe store at this point. Half the shoes there, even the shit that's like running shoes or for tennis, supposedly, as though people play that much damn tennis.
But also,
boating shoes, all that. They're all fancy enough to just be worn with some slacks these days.
Yeah, but importantly, the people getting married were cool with it. It's just, it was just an angry old person thing.
Yeah, I get it. I was in a wedding one time with slacks and a hemp belt and sandals. No, I was barefoot.
Mm-hmm.
I forget. I was barefoot. I chose barefoot instead of sandals.
Gross.
I kind of like barefoot in a lot of situations.
I don't.
It depends. I mean, when I played a lot of Ultimate Frisbee, I was a barefoot guy, which is only a problem if someone manages to get on top of you and they're a cleat guy.
Yeah, well, I grew up with sisters, so I know better than to go barefoot.
Oh, true. Yeah.
It's like if you have any exposed skin, they're going to come for you.
Yeah, that's a fact.
They're going to find a way to stab, cut, slice, pummel.
Yeah. Yeah. I really don't mind barefoot. I kind of prefer it in a lot of ways, except in my own home because everything I have, there's no carpet. So walking around in my own home, there's just every step is a reminder that I need to sweep.
Yeah, I hate that.
It makes you miss carpet in a certain way. Like, on carpet that it's been like 2 months since you whipped that thing out, but you can't feel it.
Right.
And until there's an active incident with a cookie, you don't worry about it.
2 months.
I feel like you're sitting there like, 2 months. I would have been proud of 2 months. Why was that a bad thing? Was 2 months bad?
I was like, I'm sitting there going like, yeah, you're saying 2 months, like that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, it's been like a year.
Yeah. Or like I said 2 months and you mentally went, I'm sure he just meant 2 years. I'm not even going to ask. It's too obvious a mistake. I'm not going to slow him down.
For me, it's like one of those things where like I start getting like, I have like a couple of weeks of being like super chugged up or something. And I'm like, oh, maybe I should vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
And then I vacuum and it clears up. And I'm like, oh yeah, I just needed a vacuum.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just forget.
It's because I haven't vacuumed in so long that I have an entire epidermis at this point in the floor, hanging out. I just need to suck that little filler up.
Yeah.
Yeah, hardwood doesn't get you any favors. I at least at this point just put socks around the house.
Yeah. I always wear socks and shoes.
There's not just mild debris everywhere.
Yeah. Just a smattering of debris.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we should wrap this up. All right.
I'm going to finish cleaning up what was admittedly a very impressive fort.
And I kind of feel like I need to go vacuum.
Yeah. It's been somewhere between 2 months and 2 years. And that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. I feel like Bethany picks up some of my slack. Like I'll be like, oh my God, it's been like a year since I've vacuumed. And Bethany will be like, oh, I got it a couple days ago. I'm like, okay, good.
That happens. I mean, this morning we both woke up with some energy, so I was doing some laundry, and I looked over, and Christian was unloading the dishes, and I was like, I don't know, she just went ahead and knocked it. It wasn't even a lot. It took like 2 minutes, but it cracks me up every time I see something like that. There's a part of me that's like, no, don't do the chores that I know how to do. If you're gonna do chores, do the ones that I don't know how to do. Go get the laundry that's the special laundry that's yours and Evelyn's that I'm gonna ruin, and do that, and I'll do the other stuff. I got towels all day.
Like, nope. If you have to have special clothes, you're the one that's gonna do them.
I just don't want to ruin them. And I've tried to look at the tags. The tags are misleading and are not present.
Oh yeah. No, like that's been a thing where, like, I don't know, my mom and my sisters would tell me like, oh yeah, it will say that, but you can't do that.
Yeah.
How do you know? Just trust me. Oh.
Or my favorite gripe about this, because I really did try to understand more about the laundry situation. Just a little mini mission I went on there, and some of them, especially women's like business kind of level attire or whatever, it'll have like the little tag on the inside that's got the instructions for how to clean it. But I'm so used to on guys' clothes, man, that tag is like one little tag, and there's maybe a logo printed on the back or something. It's nothing. There's a fucking flip book worth of shit on some of that's inside of women's clothes. Like a flip book in 17 different languages. And they don't, by the way, it's not like one language and the next page is another language. It's like they do like half a phrase, like one sentence, and then there's 18 other versions of it.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen some clothes. I remember back in college, I went with my friend Holly to look at some clothes. She was like, we're going to get you fixed up. And I'm like, okay. So we went and looked around at some clothes, and everything she picked up, I was just looking at it and going, I'm not doing all this to clean it.
Yep.
I'm not buying it. I'm not putting it in my closet. I'm not taking up the space. I will not wear this just because I know I will have to clean it, and I am not going to. This is a non-starter for me.
Yeah.
Give me something I can throw in a batch with some t-shirts and put it on any setting.
I do that kind of behavior with clothes, like where it's basically like where you kind of nod and you're like, man, yeah, that is absolutely the best possible solution to the problem I have. You're completely right. Unfortunately, I'm never going to do that. So what is the next best step you got? What's the grade B or C? I need something that's passing level, but less effort than you just described. It's usually what I do with, like my health, for instance. Like, yes, doctor, I understand I should do all of the things you just said. That's beautiful advice. You're perfectly right. What do I really have to do, though?
How can I keep my heart from stopping? Well,
what's the actual minimum? Like, be real with me. What's the real minimum?
Exerting some movement with my wrist at my desk.
Yeah. Is there any way for
that? You need to be running. Tut.
You're thinking of solutions that aren't on the table. Well, they never want to because they don't want to actually give you like, all right, here's the on the low. Here's the real talk about what you really have to do. No one wants to do that because then you're going to go do that instead of like the recommended thing. So they want to be like, well, I mean, like my favorite was I asked one of my shrinks at one point. I had an Ativan prescription, and I was going on a flight. This is before the honeymoon, actually. So we were going to Jamaica, which was going to have an hour to Atlanta and then like 3.5 hours to Jamaica. And then, on the way back the same, obviously. And I was joking with the shrink. I was like, so, I'm terrified. I hate flying. And, what can I do? And she's like, well, I mean, you have Ativan. It's there for a panic attack if you feel like you're going to have one. And like, I have Ativan, but it is only there for, when I actually have like a real episode. I don't take it on the daily or anything. But anyway, so she was saying all that, and I kind of was like, all right. So Ativan, some breathing exercises, got all that, got it, How much can I really take though? And she said, well, I mean, you would, how much do you normally take? And I told her, she said, well, I mean, it's okay to take so-and-so. I was like, okay, but like, how much can I really take? Like, how much can I actually take and get on this flight? She at some point laughed at me. He's like, I'm not going to actually give you that number. Like, oh, come on. It's like, no. Like, can I take 2? Is that safe? 3. What's the safe amount where I can be unconscious on this flight?
Mm-hmm.
She didn't tell me.
Damn.
I watched an obscure Simon Pegg movie.
Yeah. I've never been on a plane. I can't do it.
I have several times. Didn't like it.
Yeah. I was, I literally had someone willing to buy my ticket. They were going to fly me out somewhere. And I said, I will pay for gas, so I will drive down. I will drive 6-7 hours, whatever it was, instead of going on an hour-long flight. I cannot do it. Like, I went into full meltdown mode at the mere mention that this was what was going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, total panic spiral.
I don't blame you. And I mean, it's when I have had to fly recently. We did 5 hours to San Francisco and back. And what I've realized is also it's not as much the heights, because that's a whole thing in and of itself. I just don't like being away from the ground. But it's also the cramped nature of the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. I'm a tall guy.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm 5'11" and feel deeply cramped on a plane. Like, for you, that would be unbearable.
Yeah. No, like just driving to like Virginia or something, like 8 or 9 hours, I have to like get out and walk around. And like it takes us longer because I've got to consistently every 30 minutes to an hour get out and walk around because my legs kill me. I've got horrible back pain, sciatic pain. Yeah, I couldn't do some like 14-hour flight to Japan or whatever it is. Like some of these places that my wife goes. Yeah, I can't do it. And that's on top of my horrible fear of flights.
Yeah,
of just heights. I mean,
the wife has none. She's also, we have several inches on her. So like, my theory is that planes were made more for her than they were for us. And definitely you. But she likes to, go somewhere, really kind of out of the way, at least once every couple of years, once every year she can. But at some point, one of the places that's on her agenda at some point is London. And she said, like, well, what happens, when we finally want to go to London, like, are you going to come? Like, that's going to be the hardest one to say no to, but I might still say no. Because, like, yes, I would love to fucking go to London and do a Beatles tour for a day and all that shit. Of course, I would love to go do the basic shit. But I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I could do 10 hours on a flight. Like, I don't know if I have it in me. Like, I told her when she asked me the first time, I was like, yeah, cool. That's no problem. I'm going to take 3 months off work and I'm going to float over there. And I'll see you when you get there. And then when you get back, I'll be waiting. Or no, y'all be waiting on me, I guess, when I get back.
Yeah.
I'll just change careers when I get back. Well, I took 3 months off to go on a boat trip.
Yeah.
That could have been done in 10 hours if I wasn't a complete weirdo. I wonder, with people who are actually good at flying, what mixture is it of people who are just completely confident in the format and just understand that on a base level, it's a completely safe way to do things. There's really nothing wrong. Yes, you're a little bit cramped for a little bit, but like people that just aren't that triggered by that kind of feel or whatever. There are plenty of people that this is a perfectly suitable thing to do with their day. I am not among them. But I don't know. I wonder how much of it's the cramped thing versus the heights and.
Yeah, I don't like being around I don't like being surrounded by people. I don't like close quarters. I don't like I don't like being I'm kind of claustrophobic,
Sure.
Like and on top of that, horrible back, sciatic pain, fear of heights. That fear of the metal tube that I'm in the sky shaking.
Oh, and another one. I don't like the idea that if something goes wrong, I can't go anywhere.
Yep.
Like I hate how much it like makes you more anxious to worry about like, what if I had a panic attack in the air? What are they going to do? I'm just going to sit up here and think I'm going to die for an hour. They're not going to land the flight because of me.
And now 9/11 happened, so that's a fear unlocked.
Now, by the way, I did find out that it's slightly better if I have an aisle seat, because you can stretch out at least like one leg at a time, if not both for a while if they're not trying to push the cart up and down the aisle. But man, anyone who's actually watching, like we usually get toward the back of the plane, which I prefer. You're closer to the bathroom is all. You're like the last served from that cart of things that they bring by, but they have enough for you're not going to run out of shit. You'll be all right. And then like, I like the bathroom being close, but if you're actually watching me that whole time, you would have thought I had some sort of urinary tract problem, because I'd get up at least every 20 to 40 minutes and just go to the bathroom and stand for a minute.
Uh-huh.
Like, not even sit on the little shitty plastic thing. Just stand in a room
Stand in
by
the
myself.
place where you piss.
I remember, like, in San Francisco in particular, about every 30 minutes, I'd get up and just go stand in there for a few minutes and just sort of, like, move my shoulders around, and then I'd sit for a second just to see if I needed to pee, just in case. And then I'd stand up again for another couple minutes and head out. And then go sit again for another stretch, doing my internal dialogue of, are we there yet? No, shut up.
Oh, God. It sounds so awful. Like it's making my legs hurt just thinking about it.
It's rough.
Yeah, no, I'll stay here. I have no interest in going anywhere, really.
Yeah, it's not for me. Well, we get out of here.
Sure. Quick thank you to the patrons. Patreon.com/DC on screen.
Mm-hmm.
There's a $1 tier. There's a $5 tier. $5 gets you all the extra stuff. $1 gets you every episode ad free. You can also join for free and just see whatever we post when we post it.
If you want to pay more for a higher tier, we're taking suggestions on what that would be worth for you. Maybe we can come to some sort of accord.
Yeah, that's it. We'll come back with a news episode, hopefully, I think, next week.
I think so.
At some point. Yeah. Because it's starting to build up again.
Mm-hmm.
Hail.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, until next time, keep some DC on your screen. Hey, thanks for listening to DC on Screen. Our theme song is by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford of Galactic Engineers. The incidental music is by Michael Shackelford and Kevin MacLeod. You can rate the show on Spotify or rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. Doing that really helps push our show to new listeners, so your help would be much appreciated. You can also contact the show at DC On Screen on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or email us at dconscreen@gmail.com. To become a patron and get ad-free episodes and exclusive content, go to patreon.com/DCOnScreen. Your reviews and feedback may end up on a future episode of DC On Screen. DC On Screen is a production of Maladjusted.tv in association with Stranded Panda. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever damn platform you use.